Imam Ali died, he left instructions with his sons Hassan and Hussein about the way in which he should be buried. He described a certain place to them where they should bury him, but that they should do so in secret, so that no one knew where his grave was, so that there would be no possibility of somebody coming to interfere with his grave, to desecrate it after he had died. His two sons took him in secret to that place, and there they dug a grave and they buried him according to his instructions, and then they covered over that place so that no one would know where it was. Indeed, they went further, and we're told that they dug a series of dummy graves, imitation graves, between that place and the city of Kufa, so that anybody who went out looking for the grave of Imam Ali would be distracted. They would not be able to find it. And so it remained until the grave of Imam Ali was discovered some 150 years later. It was revealed, we can say. And it was the sixth Imam, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, who actually instructed that that was the grave. He confirmed that it was the true grave of Imam Ali. And of course, this is a tradition coming down through the secret knowledge of the Imams and coming to Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, and then in his position as the Masum, as the one without error, he confirms that this is indeed the place where Imam Ali was buried. After that time, a shrine was erected over the place where Imam Ali was buried, and this in time became the city of Najaf. And that shrine was extended and was made more beautiful over the centuries, so that it now is one of the principal places of pilgrimage, principally for the Shia, but also for other people, both Sunnis and people of other faiths, who have a love and respect for Imam Ali. They want to go and pay their respects to him, and in that place to offer their prayers to God. So visiting his shrine becomes a very important part of the practice of the Shia community especially, but also of other people. Visiting a shrine or visiting any other holy place is something that is worthy of deep consideration. Because, of course, God is not bound by space at all. God is the creator of everything, including the creator of space. So there is no where when it comes to speaking about God. Where does not have any relevance in speaking about God. God is beyond all space. So we can say that God is both everywhere and God is nowhere, because where has no relevance when speaking of God. But speaking of those blessed souls who have drawn close to God, we need also to think that in a sense they have entered into another dimension. In this other dimension, there is an ability for us to draw close to them. And so visiting the shrine, the tomb of some holy person like this is in a sense drawing closer to that person, to their inspiration, to their wisdom, to their way of life, as well as paying honor and respect by going to that place. Now, just as going to any place, we can think that, well, God is everywhere. Why should I go to any particular place? And in a sense, that's true, except that we are human beings, and our human nature is to associate particular places with particular people and particular closeness, coming and drawing closer to God. Of course, this is our human language. Because God has no where, we cannot say that we are physically drawing closer to God, but rather this is a deeply spiritual experience in which the depth of our being, our self, our soul, our nafs, is brought into an ever closer relationship with the all-transcendent, the all-powerful, the omnipresent God. When we think then of God omnipresent, we need also to think of God as being eternal. Now, eternal, of course, does not mean very old or a long time ago. Eternal means that time has no meaning in relation to God. God is beyond time. God is the creator of time. So when people make pilgrimage to a holy site like the shrine at Najaf, they are, as it were, entering into the timelessness of God. Now, from our perspective, the death of Imam Ali is an historical event. We can trace back to a year, a month, a day, and that is looking at it from a human perspective. But of course, looking at it from God's perspective, there is no time. There is nothing like history. There is nothing like the future. Everything is eternally present to God now. In other words, the birth of Imam Ali, the coming to power of Imam Ali, the death of Imam Ali are all now from God's perspective, because God is not involved in history and the passage of time. So when people make ziyarat, when they go to pay their respects to Imam Ali in his tomb in Najaf, they are in a sense entering into that awesome timelessness, which is the eternal nature of God. And in that timelessness, they have a closeness to Imam Ali in his spiritual presence, which was closer even than those companions who walked with him during his physical life on earth. Because the closeness of spiritual presence, whether it be between the human being and God, or whether it be between the human being, the devoted servant of Imam Ali, and the Imam himself, is such a close spiritual presence that we can actually talk about being in a closer proximity spiritually than was ever possible physically during life. So in this way we can see that Imam Ali, his life, his message, his teaching, and even his death are not historical events. They are not some things that we read in history books and try to find the geography and who was here and who was there. There's something much more important and much more powerful here, and that is a spiritual closeness to one of the most sublime spiritual excellence, who is now in that closest of all spiritual embraces with God, and who draws us too into that spiritual embrace everywhere, every day, every time. That is the importance then of Imam Ali.